The stone beneath you is still warm from yesterday. The first thing you notice when your eyes blink open to the hushed gray of early morning. Somewhere nearby, a pigeon mutters to itself in a dialect older than traffic. You stretch slowly, first the front legs, one at a time, then the back, until your spine lets out a satisfying crack that travels through your ribs like a memory. You're not in a bed. You haven't been in a bed in years. You're curled beneath a rusted cafe chair, tucked between a planter of dead lavender and the uneven leg of a Vespa that hasn't run since the last World Cup. It doesn't matter. The spot is yours. At least until the barista with the pointy shoes comes out and shoos you off with a hiss and a mop. The air is cool but not cold. Rome doesn't really do cold. Just degrees of heat, some dry, some wet, some with the sharp spice of exhaust fumes layered over oregano and garbage. You inhale deeply. Today smells like pastries and pigeons and the faint, unbothered scent of diesel. You rise without a sound, no leash tugs. You wear an old blue collar faded with time from a life you can no longer remember. Just the soft scuff of your claws on the cobblestones, like a whisper that has learned not to ask too many questions. This city is ancient, older than you can imagine, older than memory. The stones remember things you never will, that they welcome your pads all the same, worn as they are, cracked in the middle from a winter you slept through under a pile of cardboard behind the gelato shop. Your belly rumbles. Not urgently, more like a gentle reminder that hunger is a friend who never quite leaves. You don't chase it away, you just walk with it. Your first stop is the bakery near Piazza Navona. The old man who runs it never feeds you, not directly. But sometimes the pigeons knock things over, and sometimes people are careless. And sometimes, just sometimes, a boy drops half a cornetto and forgets to be upset about it. You live for those moments. They come like lightning, unexpected and bright. You round the corner, ears tilted slightly forward, alert but not tense. You pass a cat perched on a sun-warmed windowsill. He doesn't flinch. He knows you're not a threat, not this early and not anymore. You nod at each other, the way elders might, slow and wordless. He licks his paw, uninterested in the world, and you move on. The piazza is still half asleep. The fountain gurgles lazily, spitting water that glitters with the first threads of light. You drink from the far side, the spot tourists can't reach with their cameras. The water is cold, almost sweet. It makes you close your eyes. When you open them again, you catch a reflection in the pool, your own mostly. Fur that used to be golden now, graying at the edges, ears nicked from old arguments, eyes clouded not with age, but with a kind of tired that doesn't sleep off easily. Behind you, pigeons hop along the edge of the marble, peering in like council members at a vote. You've always suspected they run the city. The people just work for them. The sun is rising now, not fast, but steady. It pours into the streets like honey, slow and sticky. You pad through the beams like you belong in them, and maybe you do. Maybe the angels of Rome wear fur and walk on four legs. A child sees you and tugs at her mother's hand. You pause, just enough to be seen, just enough to let the mother decide. Today she smiles. She crouches down and extends a bit of her breakfast, something flaky, buttery, sweet. You step closer with the practiced politeness of a creature who's been both welcomed and kicked. She holds it flat in her palm. You take it delicately without making a sound. The child claps, and your tail betrays you, a slow, contented wag, almost bashful. You leave before the moment turns. That's the rule. Take the kindness, then go. Never linger too long. People mean well, but cities have short memories, and not everyone likes reminders. You cut through a back alley, the kind where the buildings lean in like they're whispering to each other. There's a door you like here, chipped blue paint and a warm metal vent that smells like roasted meat. You sit by it for a moment, breathing in the fantasy of dinner. Just the smell is enough. Some days that has to be true. A man in a suit steps over you, muttering something, and you don't flinch. You're fluent in indifference. It rolls off you like sunlight. Still, the city has a rhythm. Even the streets breathe, rising and falling with traffic and bells, and the occasional motorcycle backfire that startles the pigeons into revolution. You know how to move with it, when to step off the curb, when to wait, when to sprint across the street like your tail is on fire and someone is yelling about parking violations. But for now, you just walk. Not because there's somewhere to go, but because there always is. That's how you stay alive. You keep walking. You keep finding the soft corners, the half-closed shutters, the sleepy baker's son who always leaves the bin open just long enough. The world doesn't belong to you, but neither do you belong to anyone. And there's something oddly peaceful in that. Part 2, morning along the riverbank. The light is softer now, a kind of silver warmth that touches everything slowly, as if unsure whether it's really morning yet. You've left the piazza behind, paws clicking softly on stone, and followed the curve of a familiar alley. It opens like a sigh right where the city leans into the river. The Tiber waits below, quiet and green. Wide, slow-moving, always pretending it doesn't notice you. You pad across a bridge older than almost everything else you've ever walked on, a patchwork of moss, coins, and chewing gum. The iron railings are warm beneath your ribs as you pause to look down. The water glimmers in places. Ducks mutter under their breath. And beyond the bend, past the graffiti and the climbing ivy, someone is playing a flute. Not well, but not badly either. You cross the bridge without hurry because here, for just a little while, there's no need to be anywhere fast. The morning belongs to the river folk. Fishermen half asleep on overturned crates, joggers in headphones who always pretend not to see you, elderly women with small, overcooked dogs in sweaters who bark like they invented rage. You ignore them all. Instead, you head down the embankment path, the narrow one that curves beneath the sycamores and smells like wet newspaper and old perfume. You walk slower here, not because you're tired, because the air feels older. You pass a sleeping man curled against a cement wall, one arm draped protectively over a shopping bag that rustles in time with his breath. You don't sniff. You don't investigate. Sleep is sacred, and you know better than to wake someone who's finally managed to drift. A jogger tosses a piece of banana peel into the bin. It misses, you glance at it, you consider it, you walk on. Your standards haven't disappeared, they've just shifted. You know the difference between food and not yet food. A breeze rises off the river. You close your eyes for a second and just stand there, ears flicking gently in the quiet. The sun glints off something in the water, maybe glass, maybe a memory. When you move again, it's toward a patch of grass that always smells like old picnics. No one's there today. Just crumbs. You find a crust of something dry and dusty, a remnant from someone's breakfast, perhaps thrown in boredom or guilt. You eat it slowly, not because it tastes good, but because it gives your jaw something to do, because chewing feels like purpose. Pigeons flutter nearby, watching, always watching. You ignore them. That's the only way to win with pigeons. The path winds near a cafe where the chairs haven't been put out yet. The shutters creak. You smell coffee, bitter and rich, and hear clinking glass behind the walls. Someone's washing yesterday off the dishes. You like that smell. Clean effort. It reminds you of rainy days. A cat crosses the path ahead. Gray, limping slightly. You nod. She nods back. No words, just the ancient acknowledgement of shared citizenship. Your legs are sore now, not badly, just the way they always are. You find a warm patch of stone where the sun has landed early. You lie down for a moment and place your head on your front paw. From here, You can see the reflection of the bridge in the water and the spires beyond it. You see a pigeon land on the head of a statue and immediately regret it. You see a man drop his keys and mutter in a language that's not Italian. You see the city waking up in slow motion. This is the part of the morning that most people miss. But you don't. You never miss the quiet. You only ever leave it when you have to, and now you do. Because somewhere up the hill, the heat is rising, and the ruins are waiting, and you can already hear the echo of sandals on gravel, and the first tour guide's voice cracking through a megaphone, and the rustle of a boy's backpack with bread in the side pouch. So you stand, shake the dust from your coat, and climb the hill, paws soft, breath slow, steps as old as Rome itself. Part 3. Noon among the ruins. The sun is overhead now, a pale disk behind thin clouds. It doesn't burn, not yet, but it hums. A low, persistent heat that seems to rise from the stones themselves, like breath from an old beast just beginning to stir. You've made it to the edge of the old ruins. The tourists haven't arrived in full force yet, just a few early ones, clicking their sandals along gravel paths, whispering into headphones that tell them who once bled where and why. You don't understand the language, but you understand tone, reverence, fascination, the way some people look at history like it's still smoking. You walk between sun-bleached columns with the patience of someone who has seen enough to know not to rush. This part of the city feels quieter even when it isn't. Maybe it's the wide open spaces. Maybe it's the ghosts. You don't see ghosts, not like people do. You smell them. You feel their weight in the air, old leather, salt, marble dust, and sweat. You pass a stone where someone once made speeches, or executions, probably both. You don't judge. The past is like leftover food in the trash, sometimes sweet, sometimes foul, usually a mix of both. You find a patch of shade near a toppled pillar and settle down. Not to sleep, not yet, just to rest your joints. You curl one paw under your chest and let the rest of the world carry on without you for a bit. A school group passes by. The teacher waves her hands with the urgency of someone who loves their job, but not their job is volume. The children are loud, excited, pointing at stones like they found treasure. One of them spots you. He breaks off from the group, not too far, and squats beside you, his backpack slipping sideways. You don't move. He's young. Young ones are unpredictable, but rarely cruel. He just looks at you. Then, after a moment, he unzips a side pouch and pulls out a piece of bread. It's flat, torn, and still warm. He holds it out, palm up, no sudden moves. His parents shout something in a language you don't speak, and he hesitates, but still holds the bread. You take it gently. You don't make eye contact. That's the trick. Take the gift, honor the moment, don't scare the giver. The boy grins like he's been knighted, then runs off. You eat slowly. You make it last. From your patch of shade, you watch pigeons stake out the archways. One of them, a gray one with a cricked foot, lands a little too close and eyes your bread crust. You give him a look. Not aggressive, just enough to remind him you're not that tired. He hops back and coos something under his breath that sounds like politics. The ruins smell like old sun and metal. There's a dryness to the air now, a crispness that lifts the edge of your ears, and carries the scent of roasted chestnuts from a cart 3 blocks away. You close your eyes and picture them, not because you'll eat one, but because the smell reminds you of winter. The good kind. The kind where tourists drop snacks and napkins and walk a little slower. Somewhere nearby, another dog barks. Not at you, just barks, like punctuation in an otherwise thoughtful paragraph. You tilt your head. You don't recognize the voice. Probably a local, or new, or young. You've learned not to chase introductions. The ruins start to fill in, not too fast. This city never moves quickly at noon. It sighs instead, a long exhale from under its ancient ribs. Shopkeepers begin their slow dances of opening windows, sweeping thresholds. and muttering to themselves about tourists, weather, and politics. You stand again. Your legs ache a little now, but in the familiar way. Not pain, just memory. You pad along the perimeter of the forum, cutting behind benches, slipping between rusted fences, knowing the paths people don't. You pass a man asleep against a tree. His bag is wrapped around his arm. His hat covers his eyes. You don't approach. Sleep is sacred here. You make your way to a small fountain tucked between two stone lions that look like they've seen better empires. The water here is clean enough. You drink in slow laps, careful not to splash. A pair of older women sit on a bench nearby, speaking softly in Italian. You can't understand the words, but the rhythm is kind. They speak like friends who have shared sorrow and pastry in equal measure. One of them looks at you. You don't meet her gaze, but she reaches into her bag and tosses something, a small corner of focaccia. It lands perfectly near your front paw. You glance up just briefly. She nods. You nod back. You take the bread. And you move on. The city is full now. Voices bounce off stone walls like lazy birds, drifting upward and away. Footsteps echo. Shop doors clatter open. Somewhere, a violin plays badly near the Spanish Steps. You know the guy. He smells like hope and cheap wine. Plays the same 3 songs. No one minds, but you're still the same as you were yesterday and the day before. And you're not near the crowds now. You've followed instinct, habit, and the subtle curve of shade into the quieter parts, where the roads narrow and the trees start whispering over high walls. This part of the city belongs to the cats, but you're a dog. You tread lightly through the garden paths behind the old convent. No one's ever told you to leave here, and that's reason enough to return. The grass is cool. The earth smells lived in, not fresh, not rotten, just used well. You duck beneath an archway where jasmine coils around iron bars. On the other side, the orange grove waits. This is your favorite place in the whole city. Not because of the oranges, you don't eat them. Not because of the quiet, though the silence here feels like a blessing, but because it's where time slows down in a way your body understands. Like gravity takes a break, you pick the same spot every time. A wide patch of dappled shade beneath a twisted old tree where the fallen fruit lies soft and split. The bees here are gentle. The breeze is warm, and no one ever steps on your tail. This is not sleep, not yet, it's what comes before. That warm drift where you can still hear the cicadas and the distant clang of silverware against porcelain. The smells still reach you. Lemon soap from an open window, cut grass, a loaf of something crusty cooling on a windowsill 2 buildings over. You sigh. It comes out as a long breath through your nose, low and even. You can feel your heartbeat in your paws. That's how still you are. A few cats pass by. One of them is fat, orange, and unapologetically smug. He watches you with narrowed eyes, then flicks his tail and keeps walking. That's fine. He lives here. You're just borrowing peace. The orange trees sway gently, like they're listening to something only they can hear. The shadows shift slowly. Bees hum. Somewhere, a scooter backfires, but even that feels far away, like a cough in someone else's dream. You close your eyes, and for a moment, you remember. Not everything, not clearly, but enough. You remember a kitchen tile floor, the clink of a bowl, a hand, not gentle, not rough, just present, scratching behind your ears. A girl with bright socks and toast in her hand. The way she laughed when you stole the crust. You don't know how long ago that was. You don't know if she remembers you, but you remember her. The breeze shifts. A dog barks in the distance. Sharp, quick, territorial. You don't flinch. It's too hot for drama. Instead, you stretch one leg out long, curl your toes, and settle deeper. If sleep is a river, you're wading in now. Still shallow, still hearing the banks, but drifting. You dream half dreams of running through fields that don't exist anymore, of soft blankets, of bowls that always refill, and maybe, just maybe, of belonging. But even dreams know when to be kind. They don't stay too long. They don't hurt today. When you stir again, the sun has shifted. The shadows are taller. A cloud rolls lazily over the sky like it has nowhere to be. You rise slowly, shake the dust from your fur, stretch until your hips pop, and then without rush, you begin walking again. Part 5, The Market's Mercy. The scent hits you before the sound does. Oil, basil, salt, heat, and fish. You've crossed into market territory, that chaotic sprawl where people move like flocks and smells wage quiet wars against each other. You keep to the edge, where the foot traffic thins and the produce crates cast long, angular shadows. You know these streets. You've mapped them with your feet, your nose, your hunger. The vendors are setting up later than usual today, or maybe it's you who's early. Either way, the fruit stands bloom first. Peaches soft as sighs, tomatoes glinting like polished jewels, grapes fat and stupid with sun. You don't want any of it. You're a dog and you're hungry, but tomatoes just won't do. What you want is under the fish stall. There's a man there, wide, tired, and always cursing in a whisper. His apron is stained in ways that should be studied. He doesn't like dogs. He doesn't hate them either. He just doesn't notice you, and that's good enough. You wait. Quiet, invisible, still. The man doesn't notice you. He lifts a crate. The ice shifts. A sardine flips onto the ground. You move like thought. Mouth closed, silent as breath. You take it and vanish into the alley behind the olive cart before anyone can say a word. 1 chew, 2, gone. It's not satisfaction, it's survival. You lick your lips just for the ritual of it. From the alley, you watch the market swirl, colors flash. Voices rise and fall. Someone plays an accordion poorly. Children tug at skirts. Vendors shout about discounts that don't exist. And the pigeons are working overtime. A few tourists squat to take your picture. You ignore them. You're not performance art. A child drops a fig. You wait to see if they want it. They don't. You approach slowly, take the fig, and retreat. It's sweet, overripe, and clings to your teeth, but it's food. You've eaten worse, a lot worse. Too many times to count. The sun is stronger now. It presses on your back like a sleeping hand. You find a thin strip of shadow behind a wine crate and rest there for a minute, not because you're tired, but because the market is. Everything breathes here, the people, the air, even the tomatoes seem to exhale in the heat. You close your eyes briefly. When you open them, a soft voice says something in Italian. It's a woman, older, maybe 60, with strong hands and a basket on her arm. She kneels down slowly, like her bones remember when they were younger. She offers you a piece of bread. You hesitate, but her eyes are kind. You take the bread. Then, gently, she reaches out, not to pet, but to acknowledge. A touch to the air near your ear, a gesture without pressure. You accept it. You look up at her just once. She smiles. Then she's gone, her footsteps lost in the shuffle of sandals and rolling carts. You don't follow. You've learned not to chase kindness. It comes when it comes. Instead, you slip back into the crowd, weaving past ankles, baskets, fallen cherry stems, and melting plastic bags. That's how the market works. Eventually, the noise becomes too much. Too many voices. Too many engines. Too many feet stomping over the same patch of earth. So you leave. You head down a side street littered with flower petals and receipts. Past a cafe with a cracked window where you once watched a woman cry into a cup of espresso. Past a church where bells ring 3 seconds late every time. You walk until the voices blur behind you. Until the city thins out again. You don't know where you're going next, but you always know where not to stay. Part 6, Midday Stones and Memory Bones. The sun is unforgiving now. It pushes down like a hand on the back of your neck, steady and personal. The shade has retreated into thin slivers, hiding beneath benches, behind statues, in the shallow cracks between the past and the present. The hill rises behind the ruins, twisting upward through a garden path lined with rosemary and broken stairs. You've taken this way before. It's quiet. People don't come up here unless they're lost or tired of the view from below. Your paws slip once on the loose gravel, but you catch yourself. You've learned how to move on stone. At the top, the city of Rome stretches before you like a living painting. Domes, towers, satellite dishes, laundry strung like prayer flags between crumbling buildings. The river cuts through it all like a lazy thought. You sit, not because you're worn out, because you've earned the view. There's an old wall here, low enough to climb, warm enough to nap on, forgotten enough to be yours. You hop up with a soft grunt and turn 3 circles before settling. The stone is hot under your side. You don't mind. You can see the pigeons from here, spiraling like gossip above the churches. The bells haven't rung in a while. You count breaths between them. Sometimes, if the wind is just right, you can smell the basil from someone's window pot 2 streets over. You close your eyes, not fully, just enough. This is your favorite kind of tired. The kind that comes after small victories, crusts won, kindness accepted, ankles dodged, shade found. You rest your chin across your paw and let your mind wander. You think of bones. Not food bones, memory bones. The kind you bury without realizing. The kind that surface in the heat. You think of the man with the white beard who used to leave out scraps behind the butcher shop. He hasn't been there in a long time. You think of the girl with the loud shoes who used to sing badly on the steps near the fountain. She once gave you the last bite of her sandwich. You remember the taste of pickles. You think of the orange cat you used to argue with every Tuesday. You haven't seen him lately. The bench where he sunbathed has been empty for weeks. You wonder how many ghosts you carry in your tail. The sun shifts, your ears flick. A bee buzzes near your nose. You don't move. The heat climbs higher, pressing into your spine. You shift to your other side and sigh. The wall radiates back your own warmth. It feels like being held by the city. You dream a little, not deeply, not fully. Just enough to blur the edges of the present. In your half-dream, you are not stray. You are not alone. There's a hand. It rests on your back. There is a bowl. It never empties. There is a name. You can't quite remember it, but it feels like sunlight and safety. A breeze interrupts. You open your eyes. Far below, you hear laughter. Someone's dropped something and a vendor is yelling. A dog barks once. The city continues. You stay still a while longer. Then you stretch, slow, from shoulders to tail, and leap down from the wall with a soft thud. It's time to move again, not because you have a destination, but because the world doesn't pause just because you need a break, and in Rome, the light never waits. Part 7. The quiet park and the one-eyed dog. The streets grow quieter as you leave the sun-drenched overlook behind. Afternoon is folding in on itself, turning dry and slow, like bread left too long in the open air. You find your way to the edge of a small park, one of those green pockets hidden behind crumbling walls and iron gates that never close properly. The kind of place where time comes to sit down for a moment and wipe its brow. There are no children here now. No frisbees, no joggers, just cicadas singing to themselves in the trees and dust drifting across the worn footpaths like lazy ghosts. You slip through the gate and into the shade. The temperature drops almost instantly. It's not cool, exactly, but it's not angry anymore. The grass is yellowed and patchy. The benches lean. A fountain is center gurgles with just enough strength to be considered alive. You lower your head and lap the water. It's warm and slightly metallic and tastes faintly of moss and patience. You drink your fill, then sit back on your haunches. That's when you see him. Across the park, under a bench swallowed in shadow, a figure watches you, not a person, but another dog, bigger than you. Thick-necked, gray around the muzzle, and one eye. The other is a pale, milky slit that doesn't move when you shift. But the good one follows you precisely, not aggressive, just alert. You stay still. So does he. You've met his kind before. Maybe not him, but the type. Dogs who've survived things. Dogs who don't play. Dogs with no owners, no name, and no use for ceremony. He doesn't growl. He doesn't blink, neither do you. For a long time, the two of you just breathe. You're not sizing each other up, not really. You're making an agreement, an old one, older than collars. The kind of understanding that says, I won't take your place if you don't take mine. And finally, the one-eyed dog stands. Stretches, limps once, then turns and disappears into the hedge behind the bench, vanishing like smoke into shadow. You wait a moment. Then you rise too. You're not afraid, but you're reminded. The city is kind sometimes, but it is never safe. Not for long. You circle the fountain twice before settling in the grass near a tree whose roots are trying to escape the earth. You lie down with your back to the hedge, just in case. The cicadas are louder now, humming like electric lullabies. A scooter coughs somewhere in the distance. A bell rings. The day is tipping. You can feel it. You close your eyes, not to sleep, just to rest. But behind them, you see the one-eyed dog again. And for some reason, that image stays with you, like something your bones remembered before your brain did. You open your eyes, nothing has changed, but your heart is beating a little faster. So you stand, and you leave the park. Because in this life, the life of the stray, even peace has a timer. And sometimes quiet is just the sound before the next decision. The sun is bending now, not setting, but leaning sideways. The long shadows start to point in new directions, and the light begins turning gold at the edges. You walk slower, not because you're tired, though you are, but because this part of the day deserves it. This is when Rome softens, the shouting fades. The heat lets go. Even the pigeons lose interest in their petty wars. You follow the scent of roasted garlic and dust down the narrow road that used to be a Roman footpath and now hosts scooters, tourists, and one persistent delivery van that always seems lost. At the far end of the street, just before it opens into a smaller piazza, you hear music. Not a radio, not restaurant noise. Not the accordion guy with 3 songs and 1 missing tooth. This is different. It's soft, slow, a guitar, real, worn, slightly out of tune in a way that feels human. A voice joins it. Not singing, humming, just the thread of sound carried on the breeze like a ribbon slipping from a pocket. You turn the corner and see him, sitting on a low wall beneath a crumbling plaster arch. His hat is upside down on the ground, a few coins inside. His shoes are tired, his clothes are clean but old. And next to him, wrapped in paper, half finished, a sandwich. You don't approach right away, you sit first. Across from him, by the edge of the fountain where the pigeons don't go, you rest your chin on your paws and just listen. He doesn't stop playing. He sees you. You know he does. But he doesn't change the song, doesn't speak, just plays like this is what his hands are for. The notes roll out slow and low. They drift across the stone like honey. You feel them in your ribs, not your ears. When he finishes, he sets the guitar down gently across his lap. He doesn't look at you, not yet. He reaches into the paper, pulls out the remaining end of the sandwich, mostly bread and something dry, and breaks it in half. He sets the smaller piece beside his foot. Then he waits. Soft steps, low ears. No eye contact. He doesn't move. You take the bread. It's dry. Stale, probably, but it tastes like peace, like trust, like music. Like someone gave you something without asking what you'll do in return. You eat slowly, not because it's hard, but because you don't want the moment to end. When you're done, he nods, just once. Then he picks up the guitar again and begins another song. You sit with him for a while. The plaza stays quiet. The tourists walk wide around him. The world forgets to interrupt. Eventually, you stand. You turn once to look back. He smiles. He reaches into his coat pocket, and he tosses you something. It hits the ground near your front paw with a soft clink. It's not food. It's a bone. Not real. Metal. A tag, maybe. Or a pendant. Shaped like a bone, worn thin at the edges. You sniff it. Nudge it. Pick it up and carry it in your mouth. But because it's yours, because it was offered, you walk away slowly, the weight of the bone swinging gently against your tongue. And for the first time all day, you feel like someone saw you. Not as a stray, just as a dog. The city glows now. Not with neon or headlights, not yet. This glow is softer, older, the kind that comes from sun-slicked domes and terracotta walls, breathing out the heat they've held all day. You've kept walking, not far. Just enough to find what you were looking for, even if you weren't sure what that was. The streets are thinner here, less polished. More cracks, more vines, more space between footsteps. This is the part of the city where plants win slow arguments with stone. You follow a wall you know well. It curves around a crumbling garden with a gate that never opens. At the far side, tucked behind laundry lines and the smell of simmered tomatoes, there's a staircase. It doesn't go anywhere anymore. It used to, once, maybe when people still lived in the upstairs rooms. But now it's just steps that end in a railing and a low balcony with no visible door. At the top, the balcony waits, wide enough for one dog to lie across and nothing else. The railing is bent, rusted, missing a bolt. You don't lean against it. You lie down. The stairs creak, not because they're wood, just old. Even the stone here sounds tired. From here, the city spreads out in golden folds. Rooftops ripple like sun-baked waves. Church bells in the distance mark time not with urgency, but with permission. You may rest now. You watch the world slow down. A woman waters plants 3 floors below, humming a lullaby in a key only grandmothers know. A mop slaps rhythmically against a marble step. Someone opens a bottle with a pop that echoes off the alley like soft punctuation. And the pigeons, even the pigeons, settle in. You let your body sink fully into the warmth of the stone. The ache in your legs, your ribs, your spine. It's all there. But now, it's quiet. A kind of ache that doesn't demand anything. Just acknowledgement. The metal bone pendant still sits beside you. You nudge it with your nose. And it clinks softly. No one knows you're here, and that's fine. You're not hiding. But you're not on display. You exist right now in that rarest of things, a moment with no expectations. You close your eyes, just for a little, not to sleep, but to remember what it feels like to be still without needing a reason. In the distance, the sun kisses the edge of the horizon. Not dramatic, just a gentle retreat. Like it's apologizing for the heat and promising better behavior tomorrow. Your ears twitch at the sound of wind through a dry palm. A child laughs. A car honks. A Vespa sputters like a tired dragon. The city breathes. So, do you? You stay up here longer than you probably should. But the stone holds you like a memory. The air cools around your paws. And everything in you, for once, says, don't move yet. You rest your chin on your paws, and for a moment, you forget to be on guard. You just are just a dog, just a heartbeat, a life. Part 10. Twilight beneath the shuttered cafe. The sun is gone now. Not just behind the buildings, but truly gone. The sky has turned that deep Roman blue, the kind that makes everything look like a painting just before it fades to black. Streetlights flicker on, one by one, like candles lit for no particular reason. You descend the old steps slowly, careful not to slip. Your paws are quiet, your joints creak. The day has stretched you, softened you, worn you just enough. It's time. Not for sleep, not yet, but for finding the place where sleep will happen. You follow your own scent in reverse, retracing corners, alleys, familiar ledges. Not exactly the same path, but close enough that your body feels like it knows where it's going. You pass a closed bakery. The scent of sugar still clings to the shutters. You pass a door with warm light inside. The sound of a kettle, a radio, two people arguing gently in the rhythm of love. You pass a cat sleeping on a scooter seat. He doesn't open his eyes. Neither do you. Then you find it the cafe. Not a fancy one. Not a place anyone photographs. But it has a blue awning and a cricked flower box and a door that has never quite been repaired. More importantly, it has that space. Between the planter and the wall, right behind the table that hasn't been unfolded in 3 years. Just wide enough for you. You crawl in like you've done 100 times before. The stone is cool here, but not cold. The smell is neutral, neither food nor fear. Just earth and plaster and the last traces of roasted coffee from hours ago. You curl up, one leg over the other, chin tucked close. The metal bone pendant rests beside you, tucked under a paw like a memory too precious to lose, but too light to carry. You exhale, slow, full, safe. The city is still moving out there. The night has its own rhythm, music from windows, footsteps that echo longer, conversations that stretch out like cigarettes between strangers. You're not part of it, not tonight. Tonight, you are curled into the shape of peace. Not comfort, not quite, but peace. The kind that says, you made it. You don't know what tomorrow will bring, you never do. But you made it through this one. One more day, one more walk, one more sky. Your tail twitches once, then stills as the world grows quieter. Somewhere in the distance, a church bell rings, not for you, but you hear it anyway. The pigeons are asleep now. Even the one-eyed dog, wherever he is, has probably found a place to rest his ribs. The city isn't silent, but it is soft. And so are you. Your breathing slows. Your eyes drift shut. The last thought you have isn't about food or safety or even memory. It's just this. This was a good place to be, and then nothing. Just sleep. Sleep takes you gently, no sharp corners. No sudden drops, just a long downward drift, like a leaf spiraling through a quiet courtyard with no rush to land. Your breath slows, your body stills, but something in you keeps moving, not awake, not quite dreaming. A space in between, where memory puts on different clothes and walks with you. In the dream, you are running, but not from something, not to something. Just running. Your paws don't ache. Your lungs don't burn. The wind through your fur is cool and perfect. The stones beneath your feet are smooth and endless, stretching through alleys that glow with golden light, even though no sun hangs in the sky. You pass familiar places, but different now. The market sings in whispers. The ruins hum like lullabies. The orange trees sway without breeze. The whole city seems to pulse with something warm. You see faces, not sharp, not detailed. Just impressions. People who once offered you bread. A boy with fig juice on his hands. A woman with a cane and a secret smile. The old man from the butcher shop, not dead here, just polishing a bone like a prize. They don't speak. They don't need to. They're not here for you. They're with you. A cat walks beside you now. Maybe the one from the scooter. Maybe the one you used to argue with near the fountain. He doesn't hiss. He doesn't run. He just moves in time with your steps, eyes glowing like little moons. You pass a pond that wasn't there in waking life. It reflects stars in clusters too dense to be real. You pause. You look in. Your reflection looks back. Whole, healthy, younger maybe. Or just less tired. The bone pendant glints around your neck, new again, untarnished, like it never lived on a street corner. You keep walking. The city opens into a courtyard made of clouds and tile. A piano plays itself in the corner. A table is set for no one. The pigeons wear crowns and argue politely in Latin. You lie down on a bed of moss and postcards. A breeze lifts the scent of every kindness you were ever given. The warm edge of focaccia, the salt of street fish, the dusty sweetness of a girl's toast crust. You sigh in your sleep. Your real body, back beneath the cafe table, twitches once. Your leg kicks, just slightly. Your ear flutters. Your nose moves like it's chasing something lovely. In the dream, it begins to rain, but the rain doesn't wet you. It plays notes on rooftops like piano keys. It slides off your fur like light. It smells like rosemary and milk in the past. You look up, and for the first time in years, you see the city see you. It really knows you're there. Not as stray, not as lost, just as part of it. A breath in its body, a thread in its cloth, a soul with paws. And the city smiles, not wide, not loud, just enough. You close your eyes inside the dream, and you rest again, deeper this time. Beyond names, beyond fear, just fur and breath and sleep. You wake slowly, not startled, not cold, just aware again. First the pause, then the breath, then the eyes, one blink at a time. The sky above is soft gray, still deciding whether to rise or roll over. The air smells like fresh bread and yesterday's stories. You stretch, front legs first, spine arching, tongue curling. Your joints pop, your tail flicks, you're sore. But you're here. The street is empty for now. The shutters are closed. The city is still holding its breath between night and day. That sacred silence before the espresso machines begin their morning exorcisms. You stand and shake the sleep from your fur. Look left. Look right, and then, like always, you begin to walk. Not fast, not aimless. Just forward. You pass the same corners, the same cracks. The same stubborn pigeon who still thinks that railing is his throne. The air is cooler than yesterday. Maybe rain will come later, maybe not. Either way, you'll meet it where it lands. You check the bakery, closed, but a scrap has fallen in the alley, fresh. Still warm, you take it. A small gift from gravity and luck. Further down, a boy in a school uniform sees you, he waves. You don't recognize him. Maybe he remembers you from another morning, maybe you're just part of his map now. Either way. You nod back. There's no music yet, no bells. But the light has changed. The kind of shift you don't see, you feel. A softening of shadow, a stretch of gold across windows. The city is waking. And so are you. You pause near the river. Watch the water slide past like it's late for something. Decks trail behind each other with no real plan. The sky glows faint orange, like someone whispered fire into it gently. You sit, not because you're tired, because this moment asked you to. You sit, you breathe, and you realize something. You're still here. The day didn't take you. The city didn't forget you. Your bones held. Your belly is quiet. Your name, whatever it once was, still lives somewhere behind your eyes. And maybe, just maybe that's enough. Maybe that's everything. The wind carries the smell of oranges and old books. A church bell rings, soft and slow. You rise, turn your nose to the breeze, and walk back into the city that, for all its chaos, all its indifference, still made room for you. You're not waiting to be rescued. You're not asking to be owned. You are simply here, and that's the win. One day survived. One more street claimed. One more morning greeted like a friend who never had to say your name to mean it.